Hi. Okay, and welcome to week 27 of my journey through the Milan Art Institute Mastery Program. Uh, so we're coming up on the end of the mixed media and voice section, and then we start the portfolio section. So this week, I think this is sort of the common thing with people is that they don't necessarily feel ready for the portfolio section, and even when they come to the portfolio section, they're still like, oh, I don't know what to paint. So this week, in an attempt to just kind of get lots of work made so I can help to sort of narrow it down, what I want to do, I made 4 pieces this week. And last week we did gold leaf, but I didn't actually do any gold leafing. So this week I kind of played around with gold leaf. So I'll show you what I made. Let's see. So this girl, so I put down, on this one I put down a base of hot pink, and then I coated the whole thing with gold leaf. And then I actually, before the gold leaf set like totally permanently, I actually rubbed it back so that where the texture is, you can see the hot pink coming through. The lighting's not great. And so I put her in, and I put some Zentangle in the background, which I really didn't like. So I've covered it up, and I like this. I like the sort of this high contrast thing going on, and I like these sort of paint scrapes that are sort of done in the color of her body, and they sort of go from her body into the background. So this is something that I like. That's turned out well. This piece was, I started building in the layers, and then I put gold leaf in amongst those layers as I was building them. I did the background first, and then I drew her on, and she was quite sketchy. At first I just did her with China marker, and I really liked that, but it wasn't quite pronounced enough, so I had to paint over in the darks, and it's sort of lost some of its sketchiness. So it's hard because it's like, all these pieces are from the same idea board, so they're in the same color palette, and they're actually of the same model, and they're all to the same scale. But each painting I've taken a different approach. I've used slightly different processes, done it in a bit of a different order. And so each of these paintings is unique, and that's great if you want a unique piece of art, but as far as a cohesive body of work, you know, they'll look quite different. So this is actually copper leaf, I reckon. And so I quite like this spray paint over the top, and I kind of kept the shadows really blue, so it's sort of this blue and orange complementary palette going on. And I kept that quite rough. I haven't really rendered her that much. It's just sort of just the glaze layer, and I haven't done a whole lot of blending. So this is quite a hard edge, you know, for the sort of shape it is. So that's fun. And this one is still wet, so bear with me. This one actually doesn't have any gold leaf in. This was just kind of a wash that I was doing, and didn't even do any collage in this. So this one's a little bit more basic. I was trying to do like a neutral background in the back, and it came out like baby poo green. So I've covered it in black now, and it's still wet. So these are my pieces, and if you want to see the idea board from these pieces, you can head to my blog, and I'll show you that there. As far as what we learned, so you know, the assignment this week was to do 2 paintings, and I did 4 because I'm panicking. And what we saw was Ellie's process, which is pretty similar to what she's been showing us in the program. So it's collage, and then acrylics, and then oils, and stuff like that. Then she showed us how to photograph for sources, which is quite different than taking a nice photograph. You know, as a professional photographer, you want dramatic lighting. So she showed us how to light it and photograph it and pose the models indoors, and then she also did it outdoors, and she talked about how, like, if you're outdoors, you want a nice sunny day, so you've got those pretty hard shadows and a lot of form. You know, she talked about things like, I guess, making sure that you have all the information that you need in your source photos. So Dimitri was on a horse, and she had shoes on, and Ellie said, well, you know, if you want her to be barefoot, then you have to like photograph her barefoot, because you can't, like, making up the feet and stuff is going to be really hard if you don't get that information from the outset. So that was all right. And So I didn't have anyone to pose for me. So I took some videos of myself on my iPad. And then I went, because I've got a Mac, so I went into Photos on Mac and looked at the video frame by frame, and then you can export specific frames as photos. So I did that. So I went and got kind of a range of poses and facial expressions and stuff, but it's of me, and I don't really want to paint myself, so I still stuck with just using photos that I found online for this week. But now I'm like going around, I'm looking at all my friends and I'm thinking, oh, I want to paint you, I'd like to paint you. None of them really are into modeling, they don't love modeling, so it would take a bit of coaxing to get them to do that, but we'll see. Hopefully down the line I can get some models in, because I do have like some ideas for what I would want some models to do. Then what else? Oh, so then Ellie showed us how to build a source. So previous week she showed us idea boards, and this week she showed us how to build a source where you just kind of, you've got the source and then you kind of copy it. So she showed us in Pixelmator with different layers and sort of blending options in the layers, and then cutting out backgrounds and sort of modifying the colors and stuff, which I do anyway for my other work, other job. So that wasn't particularly interesting, but it's good to be able to do it both ways. So that was, I'm just double checking here, that was this week. Oh, and Demetra showed us how she finds sources. She went through, she uses Pinterest mostly. And so she showed us her Pinterest board, and one of the things she said is that she uses the source photographs that she uses, she puts them on a private board so other people aren't looking at her source photographs and painting the same source, which I thought was sneaky. So I've since made my source photographs private too. And then she showed us some of her source photographs and then the painting that came out of that. So she did show us some photographs where she had a professional model come in and do some photos, and the photos were very average, very kind of boring, and then she used a lot of her imagination to create an amazing painting. So so that was really nice to see, and that's this week, and we've got one more week until we start the portfolio section. So, oh goodness. All right, I'll see you next week. Have fun. All right, thanks. Bye.